In this video, I want to share with you the steps that led me to becoming a herbalist and why herbal medicine can be a path to deeper consciousness. Biomedicine, or Western medicine, suppresses consciousness and healing. Western medicine closes down consciousness, treating the body as a machine of unconnected parts and where the person is separated from the healing process. The patient yields power to the doctor and to a prescription with the negative side effects that they bring. Of course, drugs can be powerful and are useful, but the problem with many drugs is that it can lead to dependency, negative side effects, and often fail to address the root causes of our illness. We know that many of our health problems are related to the foods we eat and the stress we're under, and the toxins that we put into our environment. Yet Western medicine continues to ignore this reality for the most part. Western medicine has become a business that relies on a returning customer, with most people being put on medications for the rest of their lives. If Western medicine was so effective, people would be coming off medications, not staying on them. They would be coming out of hospitals rather than staying in them. In Ireland, we have a health crisis, with over 500,000 people waiting to get treatment. The hospitals are so full that people can't get in, and when they do, there are no beds, and they're put on trolleys in corridors. Herbal medicine, on the other hand, is an aid to sustainable and long-term healing, to opening and supporting the spirit, awakening patient power and autonomy. The herbs we use are catalysts in healing, nudging the mind and body towards balance, the patient to become their own instrument of healing, their own doctor. Herbal medicine is consciousness medicine that nurtures our freedom and autonomy. Okay, let's jump into the steps that led me to becoming a herbalist. Well, I was born in 1967 in a small farm in Wicklow, Ireland, where I was surrounded by nature. My father and mother were dairy farmers, and I was exposed to the cycles of nature at a very young age. Okay, we were not organic farmers and did use fertilizers and pesticides to increase production. Looking back now with the consciousness of a herbalist, I could be judgmental, but I'm not. That was our way of life, as small farmers trying to make a living off a small piece of land. My destiny was to become a farmer, and so I went to agricultural college in County Meath, Warrenstown, a college run by the Salesians of Don Bosco, an order of brothers and priests who work with young people. I was inspired by the vision of the Salesians, who worked with young people in different settings in education, social care, and among the marginalised. In 1989, at the age of 22, I decided to join the Salesian order to become a priest and hopefully make a difference in the lives of others. There I met my good friend Joe Lucy, a young priest who had a passion to work with the most vulnerable in society. We became good friends and worked together on many different projects in the inner city of Dublin. While I enjoyed this way of life, I was unwilling to be contained or constrained by the institution of the Catholic Church, and so I parted company with the Salesians in 1989. Myself and Joe remained good friends and supported each other on our own paths. However, sadly, in 2007, Joe died of an aneurysm at the age of 47. I had lost a good friend and had to face the grief of Joe's loss. I faced into my grief, as I knew if I didn't, my own health would suffer. Previously, my father and uncle had also died from heart-related conditions, and after every funeral we always talked about eating healthily and exercising. But Joe's death at the age of 47, I was thrown into a deeper reflection about health. Part of my grieving process, I decided to do a course and came across a course in herbal medicine. It was a 4-year course that looked really interesting with a nice mixture of theory and practice. I realised that herbal medicine had something to offer. It was a good fit for me, and given my PhD was a critique of the medical model of addiction, I thought maybe herbal medicine could help. Doing my literature review, I discovered that biomedicine had become the dominant healing system in the 1850s in America by serving the needs of a growing capitalist society. Changes in how medical schools operated led to the other healing systems, like herbal medicine, being suppressed and marginalised. As a consequence, Western medicine, or biomedicine, gained a hegemony over other healing systems. A hegemony is the assumption that it is the best way. People consent to this model without force. This is done through the media and propaganda. You could not become a doctor if you showed interest in alternative healing systems like herbal medicine. My research for my PhD looked at the impact of methadone and its failure to solve the opioid crisis in the mid-90s. The evidence for methadone replacement therapy promised to stop heroin use, and while it did for some, it didn't for many, and on the contrary, methadone became a platform for further prescribing of drugs like Valium and antidepressants. Heroin users became polydrug users, combining heroin with methadone and a cocktail of prescription drugs that medicated and sedated drug users rather than healing them or enabling them to recover and become drug free, become active citizens to change the conditions that created their addiction in the first place. And while I was studying herbal medicine, I was managing a drug service for heroin users on methadone. I was able to introduce herbal infusions under the radar of the official state that rejected herbal medicine and its benefits. The course in herbal medicine gave me the confidence to explore alternatives to methadone, to support addicts to reduce their methadone and become drug-free. Our success was limited due to the surveillance of the medical model, monitoring drug treatment systems and trying to prevent natural healing systems or natural approaches being used. The experience of working in addiction and studying herbal medicine opened my mind to the power of herbal medicine in the treatment of depression, anxiety and addiction. The course gave me practical experience observing patient consultations, creating herbal formulas for different illnesses and conditions. The course also had a big impact on my own health as I began to make changes to my diet, reduce my intake of dairy, meat and processed foods. I loved experimenting with herbs and I continue to take herbs most days. I love herbs for the nervous system like valerian, lemon balm, skullcap, passion flower and hawthorn. It's interesting that we have hedges full of hawthorn berries in Ireland, a natural medicine for the heart, and yet we have a heart epidemic, especially among men. We have separated ourselves from nature and we are suffering as a result. Herbal medicine offers us a way back to living in harmony with nature and protecting our home, the earth, our planet. Since becoming a herbalist, I've specialised in the treatment of mental health issues. I am the mental health herbalist.